What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the spoiler review of Doctor Strange. Now, as I said in my spoiler-free review, the movie is basically the origin story of Doctor Strange, of how he got his powers and what drove him to where he is now. Now, go and check that out if you haven't already. I'm not gonna go into the whole storytelling because we've seen the movie, right? And if you haven't seen it, I don't understand what you're doing here. I'm gonna spoil it for you. So, spoilers. Man, where can we start with the spoilers? I really loved when what's her name? Rachel McAdams, I think is the actress name. I don't remember the girl's name in the movie, but Rachel McAdams is the actress's name. She's like the love interest of the Doctor, and when she tells him really how bad it is after the accident, you know, when he wakes up and he looks at his hands. And he kind of realized that, oh shit, this looks really bad, you know. And she kind of tells him what they've done. He's so arrogant. It's like he could have done that better, you know, himself. And that kind of sets the tone for, at least for me, how difficult will it be to convince him about magic? You know, he's what you would call a non-believer, right? So that makes it really, really cool for me, and I got invested in the movie immediately after that moment. And the whole interesting thing about that is the whole downward spiral. You know, he's like, look at his house, doesn't have any furniture, he doesn't have any money left, the beard, everything. He's like really in a bad place until he figures out that, I don't know what his name was in the movie, but you know the dude from Blood In Blood Out, the Vato from that movie. He plays an older patient of his or something like that had like a really bad, I think like a spinal problem or something like that. He was like in a wheelchair or whatever, but he was out and about walking, playing basketball with his friends, and he found him. He looked him up, and he couldn't see it. He was like, who treated you? How did you end up here in a basket court? You couldn't even walk. And he tells him, well, first off, he disses him a little bit because he went to see him, but he didn't want to treat him because he saw in the journals that it was pointless. Basically, that's why he was so shocked about that. That was kind of cool, a cool thing. He dissed him a little bit, but then he just tells him, you know, that magic that way, and he's like, all right, I've tried everything else, so he fucking does it. Gets beat up. The watch that he got from the girl. Remember when he comes there and the Asian one shows him the multiverse or the spirit realm or something like that, when she does the little thing here, bam, and he kind of flies out of his own body, just lying there watching himself levitating, basically. That was really fucking cool. That was a great moment for the Doctor to start believing in magic, basically. So that was kind of cool. One of my favorite moments. Also, one thing that kind of bothered me throughout the movie, and I didn't really understand why that was, it's that Matt Mikkelsen's character, the evil one. You know, he wasn't really the evil one, but for most part anyway. He only ripped out like 2 pages from that book and took off, basically. Why didn't he take the whole book? I don't understand. You know, the dark magic or the time thing. Why didn't he just take the fucking book, you know? They already had the librarian hanging upside down. Fucking, I think they beheaded him, the old librarian, or whatever. Just take the book and get the fuck out of there, you know? He just ripped up two pages and then he kind of went. I never understood that. That was kind of weird. Also, what else caught my attention? I love how Cumberbatch fooled Wong, the new librarian, the dude who didn't laugh for the whole movie until like the end or something. Kept sneaking into the library to read about forbidden magic and stuff like that. They had like the Beyonce moment. I fucking loved that. I thought that was awesome. What else? What else was really fucking cool? Wasn't too impressed when they were fighting him and Mordo when they were training. Nothing really that interesting there. Oh, the fucking cloak. The cloak. The cape or whatever you want to call it. Oh my god. That thing had a life of its own and it chose him. Of course it did. But it had kind of a personality because it was comedic in a way. Wiping the tears. He actually beat the shit out of one of them. One of the bad guys. I think the one of the villains, you know? Basically kill one of the villains. I think the cloak does that. Anyway, speaking of villains, it's cool also how the doctor tells the Asian one that he swore an oath when he became a doctor, not to kill but to save lives. So that kind of that conflict kind of stays. That's kind of the conflict he has, you know, Doctor, and it kind of stuck with me as well for the rest of the movie. Very good point there when he tells her that basically his job is to save people, not kill them. So yeah, I thought that was a really good moment in the movie. Also, really loved these so-called safe houses with the mirrors. They had like 3, I think, one in New York, one in London, and one in Beijing or something like that, like the final house. Really cool, and with the whole mirror things. And when he pushes out one to the desert, and he kind of changed the not the weather, but the place or whatever. Pretty interesting stuff, I have to say. Also, I loved the fight between the Zealot and him in the hospital while Rachel McAdams' character was trying to save his life, like in the real world, where they were in, I guess, the spirit realm or something like that, fighting. I really like that because every so often those two worlds met. Either it was something in the real world that fell, or when she gave him like a electric shock, it kind of affected the other person. That was pretty interesting, I have to say. So I really like how they did that. That whole scene was really fucking cool. At least I thought. What else? The Dark World, the evil doer of this whole thing. He was pushed so far by the Doctor, and I actually laughed my ass off in that scene because he basically traps him in a time loop. That's kind of what he does, right? With the whole that thing. When he teaches himself that in the library early on in the movie, because you can see him doing that to an apple. It's a whole apple, and then it kind of rots away and withers away, and then he kind of does that, and the apple. So he kind of taught himself how to do that using the eye of whatever the fuck the name was. So I thought that was really cool that he trapped them in a time loop. Because that was basically what happened. He had to go back in time to save everyone, basically, because everybody died, like Wong and everybody. And that was really cool that he thought of that to trap him in a time loop, just to bargain with him. And he must have killed him like 100 times at least, until he finally came, left them alone, and he released him from the time loop. So that was pretty cool, I thought anyway. And it also set up the sequel a little bit, tiny little bit. I was thinking about Mordo. Damn it, I can't remember the actor's name, but it's really hard to pronounce. I'm not gonna even try. Mordo. Mordo lives by this code that, dark magic and stuff like that isn't to be tampered with, basically. And the Asian one actually taps into that. So he loses all respect. And also for Doctor Strange. So it's a good setup to make him like the next evil guy in the sequel or something like that. That's what I'm thinking anyway. And one final little touch that I thought was kind of funny was the whole Thor thing at the end. I don't know if he stayed in the cinema for that long, but when he refilled his beer time and time again, and whenever the camera showed Thor, it was back down again, and he had to refill his fucking beer. I think he starts off with a cup of tea or something like that, and Thor wasn't having that, so a big beer instead. That was kind of cool. Their conversation was really good, the whole thing about Loki and everything, and yeah, man, I'm super excited about this movie, and the reason for that is because this character, Doctor Strange, is so extremely powerful. Extremely fucking powerful. If you compare to the other MCU characters that we have at the moment, like... Thor is also very, very powerful, and the Hulk and stuff like that, but this guy is on a different fucking level, right? He can trap you in a mirror, in a vacuum of time. He has the time loop thing, going between multiverses and spirit realms and shit like that. That's hard to protect yourself from if you're a bad guy, if he, now that he joins the MCU, that's a great thing. That's a good thing. But it also kind of gives us a heads up of what is coming, Will he join later on, like in Infinity War or something like that? We don't know yet, or maybe we do, but I am excited. Great movie. That's all I have to say about that. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what y'all think about this. Leave your spoilers, because this is the spoiler review. If you watch this video, it means you've seen the movie. Leave your thoughts. Is it anything that I've missed, that I left out, that was very important? Please, in that case, leave it down below, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.